Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm here again with Joe. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Perch. How are you?
Well, I'm encouraged. I'm feeling good. When you helped me out a couple days ago with some of these story ideas, I think it really made a big difference. I went back to my desk, I refined a bunch of these story ideas, I came up with some new ones, and I'm really confident 2021 is going to be a huge year. A lot of stories are going to come out. So I just got to thank you for that. It was really helpful.
No problem. I think enough times past we've seen the success of the previous video, and if I learned anything from comics, it's that even the slightest bit of success needs to be repeated and drilled into the ground until everyone hates it. So we should do something like this again.
Yeah, how about right now?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I'm all for that, and you're absolutely right. The only way that this industry is going to grow is if we keep doing the same things over and over and over until everyone is forced to accept them.
Absolutely. Everyone here can consider this, questionable pitches, all new number one.
Yes, this is all new, all different number one questionable pitches.
Absolutely.
And it's a special, I think, probably New Year's Eve. This is the best possible way to close out the year of an industry that really had an amazing 2020.
Yes, no, this was an incredible, uncharted year for comics, and I think this is the 6th day anniversary since we recorded the first one.
I'm going to have to do a special thumbnail for this, something with some glitter and maybe something that will flash.
Yeah, this should probably be oversized as well.
Absolutely, we'll definitely hit the oversized. Well, I wanted to. So let me throw something at you.
Sure.
While I was refining some of my pitches to get them ready for kind of the new world, I was doing a lot of internet research, and I came to this idea, and see what you think. So basically, the concept is. It's a question everybody has had, I think, forever. It's, does Iron Man actually need any armor?
Ooh.
Yeah. And basically, in this series, Tony Stark, maybe he's watching that Netflix show, the one where they declutter their lives. He gets really hooked on it.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, everybody loves that show. And so Tony decides to get rid of all the clutter in his life, his armor, his money, his company, his friends, love interest, his stocked bar that he never uses. He gets rid of all of that. And he dons a stocking cap and he reimagines himself as an internet blogger who works for Polygon. Okay?
Okay.
But when he does this, he discovers a plot to pay for positive game reviews. And so he sees himself as needing to champion this cause. So he takes to social media to expose the nasty underbelly of gaming journalism. And we call this Starkgate. And it's just a comic about him exposing the problems in gaming industry. What do you think?
I like that there's a lot of retreading here. There's a lot of familiar ground with Tony getting his life back in order, because that's the only thing Tony has done for decades, is get his life back in order.
And people can't get enough of it. They want more constantly. They want more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We got to keep resetting Tony. Tony is constantly on a journey to find himself. There's a couple of things that just need to be added to punch this up a bit. I think it's important that we reference Demon in a Bottle here somewhere.
That's true. Maybe while he's doing his blogging, he discovers that he writes better when he's just a little bit tipsy. So he gets those miniature liquor bottles, and he has a little bit, but not too much. And so he's trying to kind of straddle that line. So we get a whole should he or should he not admit this to AA? I mean, it feels like that would create some real depth to the character.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So if we do that, and then the only other thing, those are the two Iron Man elements in a story. The only other one that has ever happened is a Stark Wars, Armor Wars kind of thing.
True. So
if we could maybe have Tony, maybe he's on a quest to take back avatars in some of these games that he created. I don't know, maybe something like that. Yeah.
I like it, so that we can get kind of an IP fight in there as well, and maybe some of the villains can also decide to kind of troll him on social media, but he doesn't know it's there. So there's this whole reveal, like the Mandarin and the Unicorn and like all of his biggest villains. They're trolling Tony from a distance, and they're trying to get him to like join Quibbly, but it's all very new tech, new internet.
Yeah. And we should show that in the comic by having like maybe the Mandarin tweet at him, something that no one would actually tweet, like, "Hey, Tony, take a long walk off a short pier."
Yes.
Or something like that, to get people to be like, oh, those are people being mean on the internet, but in a way that doesn't reflect anyone else's experience.
Well, sure. And then it could tackle that, because nobody's really tackled internet bullying. It's out of control, but nobody is talking about it. And so you could really kind of lean into the fact that here's this social problem that just nobody ever addresses.
Yeah, and if Tony can just be shocked every single time the cyberbullying comes up at all, I think that would be good. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe Rhodey or Pepper Potts or someone could be like the person that's a little more aware, that could be like, Tony, this is a real problem. And then Tony can just be like, shut up, I'm trying to get drunk enough to... Armor Wars on the internet with avatars. And
he gets addicted to Fortnite, I think, in this plus. There's just that's a great part about this idea. So many. I mean, I would pitch this as a 150 issue run. Just start it up and then lean back and let it happen.
Okay. Here's the clincher here. Here's the sell. The comic gets announced on Fortnite.
Oh, perfect.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's meta, I don't know if it actually is, but you just say things are meta, and it covers up the fact that it's really just the most cynical kind of pathetic cash grab that's not actually going to work.
Well, that's very meta.
Yeah.
That's meta. Meta is really popular. Everybody loves meta. If you say things are meta, you're guaranteed an extra 10,000 copies sold. No problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, something else too, if we could work Tony into, saying some other things that are like relevant to that audience, like, maybe he's talking about how he's like trying to like work in this gaming journalism stuff in between adulting things.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is an exploration of Tony adulting.
Yeah.
He's been a superhero, and that's kind of the tagline. Former superhero, now adulting, Tony Stark.
Nice. So, yeah. All right. I'm envisioning this better now. I see where people are going to be able to relate to this, because they're going to be able to pick this up and be like, I'm also a man in my 30s or 40s that have a difficult time doing day-to-day tasks for my own survival.
Exactly. Yeah. He's always struggling with everything. He's tried to set up Apple Pay on his phone, but he just can't seem to make it work properly. And it reflects a struggle in my life, because I'm also a fucking idiot.
No, that's true. Like this is a rich minefield here. I'm already picturing Tony now being like, Cash App, but I only just learned how to use Venmo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then he gets like really lured into a scheme with Bitcoin, but then he's confused that he's not actually getting any coins. And then, you could have some new character, like what we need to do is bring in a new supporting character, like WizKid.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves WizKid. WizKid would be like, you dumb old man. And it's just, that's kind of the dynamic they have. You can just kind of shit on Tony constantly. Seems
No, that's great. We could do that. We could be asking, what? To show he's old, he could have like a notebook where he wrote all like his passwords down.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, with like a pen and paper. Yeah, which even though he's like this tech mogul who probably wouldn't do that, and it really would suck everyone out of the book, I think we could really hammer home a message that older people are stupid and don't know technology.
That's true. And it'd be worth it, because then you could set up the plot where the spy master comes in to steal his notebook.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Tony has to retrieve it, but to do it, he's got to use Uber on his phone to get the car to try and chase Spymaster down, and he gets confused with Lyft, and it's just a terrible day for Tony.
Oh my God. And then we got pages and pages of Tony having like an awkward conversation with like an Uber or a Lyft driver or something like that. Like, and we could just reuse the same panel over and over again.
That's really popular in comics right now.
It's very popular. That way we have a whole page where nothing's changed and we're stressing how awkward the situation is because it's like 6 panels of nothing. And then, maybe Tony says something like, could you turn the music down a little bit? Or maybe the guy or girl, whoever's driving the Uber or the Lyft on the last panel is just like, aren't you Tony Stark? Yeah, something like that.
Yes, everybody loves bits like that, and you could have this go 4 or 5 pages. I mean, it seems like 3 to 4 pages is a sweet spot. That's what I keep hearing in comics, and that's what everybody's going for. So, I think it would be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It would be nice and refreshing to see Tony done, this way. I think this is where we need to go.
Perfect. Okay, I'm writing all these things down.
Good.
I've got all this down in my notebook right here that I hope also doesn't get stolen. See, I'm like Tony Stark. This is it's perfect.
Nice. Absolutely. That's what people want.
That's exactly what people want. What about, have you had any chance to reflect on any ideas?
I have, and one thing I was thinking about here. Which I think a lot of people were thinking, Perch, Joe, you're talking about comics and you haven't really talked about Batman. You're clearly not fans of comics and both just really suck.
Everybody likes Batman.
It's true. So I was thinking, okay, here's a Batman pitch. How the joke and all that stuff, it's always been that like, Bruce Wayne's like some sort of like playboy. He's always like sleeping around with women.
Sure.
It's something that like, DC for whatever reason has always pushed, and it's always been like horrifically awkward and never executed that well. It's a weird thing that they still try to do sometimes. It's never worked. And, I thought we should lean into that.
Okay. Yeah. I hear you. This sounds great.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we do a retcon because people love retcons.
Everybody loves retcons.
Everyone loves retcons because the only way you can tell a story about a character now is if everything you knew about them was a lie.
That's true. So, nobody wants consistency. I mean, it's so boring. Like my dad wanted consistency. I want constant reinvention.
Absolutely. You shouldn't be comfortable. Art shouldn't let you be comfortable.
Never
Absolutely not. It should be challenging you constantly to understand what it is.
Yes.
And so here's this proposal. It's called Batman City of Wayne.
Okay.
And now here's the thing. Turns out Bruce has slept with so many women that he has just hundreds, if not thousands, of illegitimate children populating Gotham.
That checks out. He doesn't strike me as a guy who would wear protection.
No, absolutely not.
I'm cool for that.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that, and this is the retcon that's really gonna blow everyone's mind. We're gonna go back, change everything. Turns out, every single one of the Robins is Bruce's biological kid.
Oh, mind blown.
Right? Now everything makes sense. That's why he wanted to adopt all those kids.
Yes, they're all his.
They're all his children.
It also makes sense that they pal around with him because somehow inside of themselves they knew this was their dad. They were all trying to just bond with their dad. It's kind of it's stunning and it's a tragedy.
It really is. It's a lot of them really had their childhood taken away from them and were lied to as children. They're all like sort of figuring this out together. And one of the other things this helps to do is move away from the fact that it's deeply creepy and disturbing that this man is basically collecting children.
Well, yeah, that was always a weird thing that bothered everyone. And now he's collecting his children.
Yes.
I like it.
Like it. Yeah.
Everybody. Even Barbara Gordon. This would explain why Barbara Gordon doesn't look anything like her dad.
Yes, absolutely. It explains that. Stephanie Brown, another one of, Bruce's kids, Carrie Kelly. Why the fuck not, right?
Bruce always had red hair as a kid. It makes sense.
Yeah, and then, you can just create a stronger bond with all of them. Because after a while, this constant over and over again of a real family is the one you make. Like, fuck that. Just make him an actual family,
It is the one he made with his penis.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. This is the retcon we've been waiting for. It would turn the entire Bat universe on his head. I don't know why Grant Morrison didn't do this.
I'm shocked. I don't know why Grant was able to restrain himself so much and only create one new Robin that was his biological kid
when they all could have been.
Absolutely. It was a lot of restraint from Grant that I don't think was necessary. I think you just lean into it.
This is great. I mean, this would be the Bat event that would just change and shake everything.
Yeah.
Bruce's children. And then there's so many things you could do with spin-offs, and you can have Robin books, and you could have like Bruce's. I mean, it doesn't just become the Bat family in name. Like you said, it's the Bat family in everything. It's brilliant. That is a brilliant, mind-blowing idea.
Thank you very much. I figure it's also going to be easier to get over the plate than my gay male erotica Batman story, Batman All Man's Land.
Yeah, that one. Well, it's a great idea. I mean, but the world's just not ready for it yet. Maybe in like 2-3 years, we get a couple years of the Biden presidency under us, and then I think maybe we'll be there.
Yeah, because like I'm brave enough for it, but is everyone else?
That's the problem. You gotta get a full team of bravery to put it really across the line. But that is a good idea, because I think Batman's always had kind of that gladiator kind of feel to it, and this would really lean into that. I think it makes sense. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was striking me is and that is just a chef's kiss level pitch.
Thank you.
No doubt about it. One thing that I've been noticing a lot in comics is they are filled with way too much just general action. And it's kind of sticking with the DC universe, I was thinking about a comic where we combine the two things that people love absolutely the most, kind of confessional talking and food. Okay. And we put both those together, and we basically get a comic, and we set it entirely within a Metropolis diner. Ooh. And it's a retired Ted Knight, and he has decided that his calling in life is to run this diner. But, and here's the hook, he only serves heroes and superheroes in his diner. So they will come in, and they will have some delicious comfort food. It's a place for the heroes to take a break, sit down, have a meal, talk about what's troubling them. Use that, use that still confessional shot of just heroes just sitting in the booth talking about their problems, and Ted kind of nodding and everything else. And it allows them to really explore that side of things, and also have a lot of eating, which everybody loves.
Yeah. How many pages do you think we could get out of the menu in the book?
Well, so as X-Men showed us with those data sheets, at least a quarter of the pages can be menu. And we could spice it up by like having like a hand sometimes over some of the menu, or like a coffee stain. Because you know what really always works great for pages when you're trying to make it look authentic is you put that little brown coffee stain on the page.
Yeah.
That indicates that it's a real page.
No, that's true. And then we can really control the pacing by just having a lot of internal monologue with Ted Knight as he's serving these people.
Yeah, he should be kind of thinking about some of their problems. He is the point of view of the reader in a lot of cases, hearing these stories. But, and here's the extra hook, is that he has a secret in that he's also, simultaneously to this diner, he's running a soup kitchen for the villains of Metropolis. And in his mind, he's thinking, through food, I will help them recover and renounce their evil ways. And this whole book is called Dinner with a Hero.
Now, that helps because that's more menu pages we could add.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know what? Here's what you do. You make it like a flip book. You have a cover on either side. Yes.
So you do it. Revolutionize the printing process. Wouldn't work for digital, but we could tell people, like, just turn their tablets upside down.
Yeah. Whatever you got to do for that. And then, you sprinkle in a few, like, just kind of like still action shots that you cover with narration. Maybe those are colored in black and white because they're in the past.
Yes.
Of people like recalling and regaling about the old times when there used to be action for them to deal with. And now we're getting meta again. It's a commentary on how we've moved away from the idiotic thinking of 90s comics.
Well, yeah, exactly.
We've evolved.
It would be perfect. And you could get somebody to kind of draw in that Rob Liefeld style, where there's no feet. And basically that's what all the black and white scenes are just these kind of this dumb action that nobody likes anymore. That's definitely a relic of the past. And now the comforting part is when we come back into color with actually the good illustration, they're eating food and everybody just feels good.
Yeah, and then here we go. We do more meta stuff. People, again, they love meta.
They do.
So we're gonna do it. Here's the thing. Ted Knight's Diner, it's not making as much money as it did in the 90s.
Oh, yes, exactly.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. He's having to resort to some gimmicks in order to survive.
Yeah, and we make it even more meta by just brutalizing people with commentary. I want everyone to just feel sick after reading this because it doesn't give you a chance to think for yourself. So, like, Ted Knight is regaling. He's talking about how he's not making as much money as he did at this American-style diner. And like the ramen joint down the road is making more money than ever.
Exactly. I love it. I love that. And because of that, he can't pay any of his employees health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's meta too.
It is. Yeah. And again, it's a good story because it's meta.
Exactly.
We
really lay on the meta stuff. I mean, it's even the menu could just say meta sometimes instead of menu. And then it's like a little visual gag to kind of remind people because they may be too stupid to understand the meta commentary. So we may have to put some notes in there saying, hey, jackass, we're talking about the comic business here.
Oh, yeah, no, they're absolutely too stupid to get it. And I mean, just the setup for this book, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but like this is like Eisner bait.
Yes. I was hoping you'd say that. I was hoping like for a Hugo or an Eisner or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it definitely does have a challenge in that, the audience is probably too dumb to get a lot of these concepts, but just because they're too stupid doesn't mean the idea isn't brave and brilliant and should be done anyway.
Also, it's important to keep in mind that this doesn't have to sell anything and it can still get an Eisner nomination.
I mean, sales would only hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, all you need is just the right people wanting to nominate this book, either because they genuinely like it, were told they should like it, or have a vendetta against someone who doesn't like it.
I can get the right people not to like this.
Okay, that's important.
I feel confident in that. Yes, I know who those wrong people are, and I know what I can do to make them mad. It's
good.
Yeah, it will work.
Okay, that's going to be good.
Write more notes in my Iron Man notebook here.
Excellent.
Perfect. Okay. You've talked about team books. You've talked about solo books. Do you what? I hear you have a pitch. You're kind of mentioning it the other time before we kind of went on there. You had an additional pitch or a solo character that sounded really, really cool.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I have a few of these, but okay. One of the ones that I think it's I think it's time because I think we can all figure that either this Iron Man book going on now is going to be canceled soon because it sucks, or Hellcat will move on to another book or something will happen.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what if we do holy fuck, it's Hellcat.
Ooh, okay. Edgy. I like it.
With an explanation points, We'll like bleep out the fuck or whatever it is, or we'll make the U like, a horseshoe or something stupid.
Excellent.
But here's like the log line kind of pitch, because it's important for anyone listening. If you're going to do like a log line, you really got to grip people. Okay. So this is like the elevator pitch. So I'm just going to do it uninterrupted. Just dive right in, so people know this is kind of how you put a pitch together. Here we go. Perfect. Badass, irreverent, don't give a fuck, constant in-your-face attitude. This badass, punked up, glam jean jacket, pierced up, rude, spitting, torn jeans, cat eye contacts wearing. Did I already say badass? Girl who will not be fucked with is out patrolling the streets of the Lower East Side, fucking up drunk dudes that don't know their place. Also, she'll fight like Doc Ock or something, and we're going to make him look extra lame while using him as an insert for a guy I hate.
I'm speechless. That is awesome. I would buy the shit out of that.
Yeah. Who wouldn't?
I mean, that's really the kind. I mean, that's the in-your-face attitude the comic industry has been desperately, desperately missing. I think that sounds amazing, and Hellcat is perfect for this.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely.
Arguably, writing the biggest high the character's had in 20 years. Right now, it is the time to do it.
No,
I love it, and think about, like, you could. I mean, if you wanted to, you could have lots of antagonists in the book of all the people who have irritated you over the years.
Yeah, no, for sure. And and we can reintroduce, someone like Millie the model to kind of be the character that she's like bouncing stuff off of, that like encourages her to go out there and mutilate more people. Yes,
that's on brand for Millie the model. She was always a little edgy.
Yeah, no, Millie was very, very, very edgy. People don't know this, but we can tell you anything about Millie because none of you have read it. So
yes, that's true. She had an eating disorder way back in the 70s before it was popular as well. That's a fact.
She was always ahead of her time.
Yes, that amazing. I think that, I mean, that's exactly what the comic industry needs right there, and just so many directions you could go. Make it definitely kind of in that 70s bombastic. I mean, all these words that I use when I'm trying to say brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing here is to do this like I'm someone in my 30s, where I'm doing this with like a weird, edgy 90s kind of aesthetic that's really based on the 70s, but I'm kind of misremembering some things, and it's just like a muddled mess.
Well, it's like how everybody was wearing flannel and listening to disco, which is my memory of that time. Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's how. I mean, speaking of that's brilliant. I mean, speaking into leaning into that, I think that there is room in this industry for more. What you don't see enough of is more blaxploitation type comics. Do you notice that? Like, it's super popular, and in movies are doing it all the time, but we don't get nearly enough of it in comics.
Yeah, I mean, there was going to be that. Was it David Walker was going to do that. Like there was that like Luke Cage comic that like never came out.
Yeah, and they missed their opportunity. But I think it can still be done. I think the world is ready for it's a blaxploitation street level story. We can have it starring Black Lightning. But this time, and this is where everybody messes it up, we're going to really lean into the exploitation part, which is what people like about the genre anyway. I mean, that's why they're coming to the show. And this book, which will feature Mr. Terrific, will use like every stereotype we can think of, but it's not going to be a problem because we're going to keep reminding people that it's not racist. Okay, and so we'll follow like John Henry Irons through all of his various struggles and things, and it will make fun of other people who are racist, who are definitely not me in any way whatsoever. And even though it's featuring super negative stereotypes consistently, it's in the name of blaxploitation, so it's clearly not racist.
Sure.
It's going to be done to point out how other people are racist and how I am good while I am featuring the adventures of like Static or Cyborg or who cares really. But that's it's one of those people that's not ready for the Justice League. That's what I think we can do.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to stress how not racist and horrible it is, while also going out of your way to not hire or consult with any of the people that created the characters.
Oh, for sure. Why would those people? I mean, I don't even know who they are. I mean, why would I? Why bother?
No, exactly. To not do anything resembling the character, the original intentions, ignoring the rich histories of these characters in their runs, and I can't stress this enough, making sure that none of the previous material is in print to make sure people who really should be getting royalties aren't getting any.
Well, I mean, why they've gotten enough money in the past? They should be happy and grateful. That's what I think. I mean, I know how these characters should be written. What do we need these people for? All they could do is stir up trouble. So I think it is tricky though. We have to walk this very fine line between really making sure everybody understands that in no way are we racist. In no way am I racist by writing this.
Sure.
But definitely all the other people that I'm making fun of are totally racist and terrible people.
Yeah. Again, I think it's really important to fight and backstab everyone you can to get this gig and making sure you use none of your clout that you gain through the industry to lift up or help out any of the people whose lives you're rooting to get this IP out.
They wouldn't want the help anyway. I mean, everybody wants to stand on their own 2 feet, and I'd be doing them a disservice if I helped them out or gave them any money or recognition or credit or anything. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not a racist person. I'm not going to demean them by offering them any help. That would just be absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like how Black Lightning was created by, what was it, Tony Isabella and like some guy, right?
Yeah, some guy. I mean, if it was important, we would know, right?
Yeah, like if it was important to know who Trevor Von Eden was, then we would know.
I don't. Yeah, that name doesn't ring a bell.
No, why would it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their. If they worked harder, we'd know.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the way of this industry. That's the way it works. Anyway, I think that's the kind of content that we really need right now, for sure.
Yeah.
What if we had a? I was also thinking same lines with DC, kind of a little bit of a different take. We two things people absolutely love: Korean pop band BTS and the Addams Family. And I mean, everybody loves those properties. So why not take that as the motivation and emphasis behind a reboot of the Doom Patrol?
Ooh.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Don't fall into the same trap of having the book be strange, because nobody gets that shit anyway. So rather than provide a confusing, hard to follow team, the new Doom Patrol will lean into spandex, heroics, implants, pop music. right? Think
Mhm.
New Warriors meets Youngblood. Doom Patrol will see more Patrol, a lot less Doom, as their pop superstars with a heart.
No, that makes sense. That's why John Byrne's run on Doom Patrol was so much more successful and beloved than Arnold Drake's or Grant Morrison's or Rachel Pollack's.
Well, I mean, that's everybody always remembers John Byrne, Doom Patrol. I mean, his run of Doom Patrol is probably one of the most famous things he's done.
Yeah.
And it's the only reason the team has stuck around was because of what Byrne did. And I mean, I just think if you really went for, to stop with any of the silliness and just go for a nice straight take on this superhero book with heart, the only Mr. Nobody will be the people not reading the book.
It's true, and it makes perfect sense. That's why there's an omnibus of John Byrne's Doom Patrol, and not like Rachel Pollack's or even like Keith Giffen's.
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the kind of team that I know I would read the shit out of. And yeah, I'm just hoping we get that in the new year for sure.
That'd be that would be great, and then that sounds very TikTokable too.
If you can mix some TikTok into it, I think because I do understand technology. So if you could use the TikTok to help promote kind of the new technology in this book, I think it would be very cromulent.
That would be very cromulent.
Yeah.
Which speaking of cromulent ideas.
Okay.
I was also thinking, because we haven't completely thrown away all of our X-Men ideas yet.
No.
There's far too many. So I was thinking, one of mine, gotta give some love to Wolverine, longtime fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
So here's what we do. Everyone knows Weapon X. Here's what it is. Wolverine opens a pizzeria. It's called Weapon Slice.
Oh,
because he slices things with his claws.
I like it. It fits because he has claws. Yeah, and slicing is what you do to pizza before you eat it.
Wolverine is the best there ever was at what he does, and what he does is delicious. Oh, it's great. But and the logo design is going to be like Weapon X, but it's going to be a circle around the X and done like a personal pan pizza with like 4 slices.
I can picture it right now, and it's the perfect Dawn of X book.
Yeah, so like the first issue is all just like done like a condescending video game tutorial where it's like Wolverine's head on all these different pages going over like the menu and how it works to run a pizzeria. And, that's probably going to be the whole thing. And then issue 2 is when he's really going to start hiring people. And, we're going to do stuff where he's like, he's like interviewing Nightcrawler, and he's going over like, oh, Nightcrawler, well, I can teleport, to the pizza in time. So like Nightcrawler, he'll get the job. Sure. You go over some people like that, and then you get like Colossus, and he's just like, Colossus, why do you want to deliver pizza? You can't like go as fast as a teleporter or Quicksilver or something. And then we have Colossus say something like, but I can throw people far.
Yes.
The fastball special. It's a thing that everyone can't stop referencing ever.
Well, and everybody loves the fastball special, and we haven't seen it used much. But if you could work in a fastball special to every issue, and that can almost be the punchline of the comic, like, we got distracted because like the toad snuck in and ate some of the anchovies, and we're not going to get this pizza out on time. And Claw's like, I got it, and he just like fastball special and just throws that pizza, and that could be like the gag. Every joke could be great.
Yeah, no, we got to kill all these jokes and just drive them into the ground. But so like the first order is going to be from like Arcade, and he's going to be like, "You got to get it to me in like 30 minutes." And by the way, you have to get through Murder World to get to me.
Oh, that's an arc right there.
It is an arc, but the thing is, that's the end of issue 2. But then issues 3, 4, maybe 5 are all prequels set when Wolverine's actually, picking out the location for the pizzeria, learning how to make pizza from, I don't know,
Lila Cheney or somebody like
that. Yeah, whoever. It's a whole journey. So that way, by issue 6, which would be the start of the second trade, is when we actually go on the delivery to Murder World.
I like it. Yeah, this is your second trade paperback, and then it's just all. And you could do that thing that they did in 24, where you just like put the clock up at the top of every panel, and it's like time's running out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have to end it as predictably as possible. So like they're gonna go through all that trouble to get to Arcade, and then they got his order wrong.
Yeah, he opens it up, and it's like it's the wrong pizza. And then you could cut to like a scene of Storm somewhere else on Krakoa, maybe like opening up this box of pizza, and she's like, "I didn't order pepperoni," and then that's how you end it.
That's how you end the second trade. Yeah,
the second trade. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of it. I mean, this is too many people go into. It's like they're always like Wolverine's fighting ninjas, and it's like that same crap over and over again. This is a refreshing take that I think the world has been waiting for.
Absolutely. It's a brave new world for Wolverine.
I like it. I think there's a lot. I mean, there's so much to explore. If there's one thing that's true about Reign of X and just all these books is there's not enough of them. I mean, there's so many ideas that are still remaining to be explored. What about Beak? Where is Beak? And there's so many characters that we need to catch up on.
Yeah, we need to catch up on Beak. We need to catch up on, God, I don't know. Where's Boom Boom?
Yeah, nobody knows. Just kind of disappeared. I mean, they set these things up, and then there's no room to breathe with any of this stuff. I was hoping that we could get kind of in the periphery of the mutants team, 2 infamous characters. So you could take Scarlet Witch and Namor.
Okay.
And they both have their past, of course, with Xavier and the mutants. They both have a very troubled past. And they basically get shoved together, and they have to team up after there's an attack on the nation of Krakoa, and the 2 of them are framed. So they're going on the run to try and clear their names and figure out who the culprit is. Because I think this is a really original. We've never seen really stories like that, where 2 innocent people are framed, and they have to kind of figure out who the real culprit is while being chased, and then this story could kind of explore some hidden feelings maybe the 2 have for each other, and then you kind of get into this whole subplot like, does Namor look kind of like Quicksilver, and is that creepy or not? And then but she can't help it, because Namor can just fuck anyone. He's got that much magnetism, and we call this whole book like Fish Out of Wanda.
Okay, yeah, but Wanda should also like make herself look like an Invisible Woman at some points too.
Yeah, she could dress up like that. Could be like the trigger is while they're on the run, she has to dress up in like a blonde wig and to kind of disguise herself. And Namor's looking at her like, I can't help myself anymore. I'm just going to throw you up against this wall.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And plus, Marvel loves doing that stuff because they did it like how many times with, Cyclops and Emma.
Oh, sure.
Emma and Jean, like, just drive this trope into the ground. So it's about time that we resurrect this trope and drive it into the ground again.
We do. And it's not, they have to keep their IP alive. And part of the IP that they need to protect are these storylines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get them back into print. I definitely think there's some work that can be done there. I don't know. Romance is something that has been missing in comics just in general. And I think there's a lot you can do with romance and retcons. And if you could do a romantic retcon, like what if while Aunt May was dating Doc Ock during that brief period of time that everybody remembers, and people are always saying like, why don't you do more of that? But maybe during that time, we go back and we retcon a little bit that the Jackal was stealing DNA. We won't really reveal how they do it. That's gross. But he's getting some of the DNA and he's making all these like clone Octolad, creatures based off of Aunt May and Doc Ock's DNA. And here's the catch. Because Peter lived with Aunt May for so long, his body was exuding enough radiation that changed Aunt May's DNA. She didn't realize it. But when these little mutated creatures start to grow up, they've got spider powers and they can do things. And so this cloned army comes up, but of course they eventually turn on the Jackal, and Aunt May forms this new team called May's Monsters, and it's her and all these clone babies, and they go out and fight crimes. Maybe in a van.
Yeah, no, I think a van really sells it. Especially if it's like a large van. Maybe some of them live in the van. Sure. It could be like a base of operations kind of thing. Yeah, no, that works. And at some point in that, though, to really sell it, occasionally for pitch ideas, I'll just look at the worst listicles on CBR.
Yeah.
And they'll bring up the golden oldie, who only appeared in one like What If comic many years ago, but people like to bring it up like it's a meme or something stupid like that.
Sure.
So Aunt May should periodically become the golden oldie again for the first time.
I like it. Yeah. That way we're respecting history. Basically there. Absolutely. People are always saying that you should respect comic history, and this is a way that we pay homage to Steve Ditko, who I'm sure was involved in that in some way, probably, because everything Spider-Man is.
Yeah, I think the important thing is, like some of the stuff we talked about before, is to, invoke the name of Steve Ditko and say you're honoring like his legacy and what he did while barely reading anything he's done and not respecting him in the least.
Well, the great part is you don't have to pay him anything. I mean, obviously, in peace, but you can say so he's not really going to come at you. It's fine. You can do whatever you need to do there, and that way you get the benefit of the name, but you don't have to pay anything or really show any respect whatsoever. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, that's comics right there.
They call it the Kirby method, I believe.
Yeah, I love Captain America, which I think everyone got from our retrospective on the death of Cap.
Yes,
love Cap. Go check that out, by the way, viewers or listeners, however you're enjoying this. But the important thing with Captain America is if you're ever going to do a new Captain America story, there are a few things you have to do. One of them is you have to, invoke something from like the Star Spangled Banner or like a patriotic kind of thing and like play around with it.
Yes.
So my idea here is, a little play on words. It's Captain America, Bled, Blight, and Gloom.
Ooh, okay. Story for our times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like red, white, and blue, but I changed the words around to make it menacing.
I get it. Okay. Yeah.
You got to do something like that. You have to tell a story about, something with flashbacks about his memories not being right.
Yeah.
Always has to happen. So I'm thinking this is mostly going to be flashbacks about how like his dad abused him, and it's like a metaphor for capitalism abusing the working class.
Right. Okay. That checks out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of that. And then another element that has to be in here is you constantly have to keep reusing the same like couple of iconic Captain America covers.
Okay. Yep.
So for this, the first issue, I'd probably want to like invoke the that really iconic cover where Captain America is like punching some guy across a desk. I think it was Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
And he goes, "Malaise this, peanut farmer."
Ooh. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the cover.
That was about right. I mean, I know there was the one where he was beating up Charlie Chaplin for some reason, but that one you described was way more iconic.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charlie Chaplin was really fucking annoying. Why? Just speak up, buddy.
Oh, for sure. Like, how many, like, I mean, from what I hear, the studios just didn't want to pay him for talking, but still, I mean,
absolutely.
What a loser.
Absolutely. Just ways to save money. But yeah, and also I guess like he'll fight Crossbones or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. If you made Crossbones like I don't know, like again, I think have Crossbones running for the Senate or something. Like he could be running for Congress.
Or he's running for mayor of a town and he's gonna like outlaw something outlandish like dancing.
Perfect. That's right. Crossbones is fed up with dancing. He's going to run for mayor of some kind of Midwest town. You know, one of the places, I don't know, one of those states that happens between the important states. Yeah. And then he's running for mayor there. And Cap's like, do I even want to bother with this? Because who the fuck cares about that state? But he's like, I guess I oughta. And then he learns that Crossbones is going to outlaw dancing. And that triggers a nice flashback of Steve Rogers remembering how he used to like ballroom dancing when he was in the war.
Yes. No,
that's the tears that you get. You get that emotional, you know, a book and a cry.
And then somehow, I don't know how we're going to get this to happen, but somehow there's going to be an issue that's just a flashback of like him and Bucky during World War II, because they always manage to do that somehow.
Sure.
So that'll also happen.
What we could do is you could flash back to his time when he was learning how to dance. And then while he was learning how to dance, he flashes back inside the flashback to him and Bucky, like charging down some of the, I don't remember who they were fighting back in the war, but whatever, the bad guys.
Yeah.
And he kind of thinks dancing is like killing bad guys. And that's how he learns how to dance. And so we get multiple flashbacks that kind of complete the whole narrative.
Oh, and then that issue where that gets revealed, the cover is just Steve Rogers in the place of David Bowie on the cover of the Let's Dance album.
Exactly. Yes. That's very meta.
Yes.
We'll put meta on the cover.
Yeah, no, it's got to be meta.
I love it. I think there's so much untapped potential. I mean, we really don't know what Captain America was doing back there. I mean, he was fighting for something, but it's unclear what. The Korean War, I think, is what was going on then.
Something like MASH was doing that, right? I think Captain America came out around MASH.
That's right. It was he crossed over with MASH, didn't he? I think I'm
pretty sure, or at least after MASH. So one of those.
It checks out. I think there's a lot of things you can do with shows, and I mean, the one thing that always strikes me about comics and a lot of the stories that get pitched is that they're forgetting that there's really good shows on cable TV and on Netflix. And if they watched more of those shows, they could find some really great ideas there. I don't know why people don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see that show? I can't remember the name of it. It was a show, like there was a kid and he was a hacker and he had weird buggy eyes and he was like trying to always cause trouble. Like that's pretty much all I know about it. He was on cable TV and he was some kind of hacker doing something. And I was thinking, you have that Leviathan story that Bendis has been doing, but it got shelved because they needed more room to tell the Villains United story, which was certainly the bigger story in all this. But I know a lot of readers are sitting there going, what about Leviathan? Like, when are we going to get back to Leviathan? Who are these people? How do they join our organization? What do their offices look like? And so if you could take this kind of hacker TV show, whatever it was, and then we explore how Leviathan radicalizes people on the internet through grooming and fake news, and then how they get people to accept alternate facts, and then one day, ultimately, join this super secret criminal organization that utilizes violence, terrorism, and memes to control the world. And it would be a story that would be ripped from the current headlines, but subversive in that we utilize 4chan and Kiwi Farms for all of the promotion.
Okay, and here's I'm going to give you the cherry on top right here. I'm going to give you the title of this little event. You ready
Okay,
for it?
I'm ready.
All right, it's going to be hate, comma, the player.
Oh, brilliant! Second, second one of this conversation. That's beautiful,
right? Because it's hate is what's driving all of this, and we're going to really hammer that home.
It's brilliant, and I was thinking you could have Dr. Manhattan as part of the team as well. You just put him in there somehow.
Well, here's how you got to do this. You either got to do Dr. Manhattan, or the Mobius chair shows up and just answers everyone's questions or something.
That would be good. Yeah, or you put Manhattan on the Mobius chair.
Right?
You can use both. I mean, nobody's doing anything with those characters, but just have them there, and then it sets up like, oh, we've got a chance of greatness. We got Dr. Manhattan on our side right now, but Dr. Manhattan is too busy just like laughing at memes. So he never really kind of gets into the picture, and then there's an HR problem because he's naked all the time, and it just, you make this kind of like a combo of, you know, I'm thinking some big spy thriller like Skyfall meets The Office.
Yeah, and then we do need a character who's got to be relatable to people on Twitter. So we're going to need some character that is constantly talking about playing Hades and considering weighing in on Big Mouth discourse.
Oh, perfect. And why, you know, underutilized character, let's put Harley Quinn in that role.
There you go. That would make sense.
It would make complete sense because, you know, that people like clowns, and she looks kind of like a clown, but not really. So it's good, and it's another title with a female lead, so that's good too. And it just seems like all these pieces kind of just fit together naturally.
I also feel like Harley Quinn probably has conflicted feelings on the latest season of Big Mouth.
That's true. Yeah, it speaks truth.
Yeah,
I think that fits perfectly. I don't know, Joe. I think these are some amazing ideas. I just hope they'll use some of these in the new year.
I hope so too. And, hopefully, we get some diminishing returns on this, and we can roll out a brand new #1 soon.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have another 50 ideas, so we could do this all year.
I have way too many ideas that would fit this, and it's sad.
The channel could just become this. It would be perfect.
Exactly.
I hope you have a very happy New Year and a great time. And for everybody listening, thanks for all the support. And Joe and I enjoyed talking with you. And it's a good time.
Yes, thank you all very much. And I hope you're looking forward next year to being inundated with bad ideas.
Yes, they're coming.
Excellent.
Take it easy.